What is going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another tutorial video, and shout out to Create to Learn, Taking It Global, for giving me an opportunity to show some of this cool stuff with you guys. And from the tutorials so far, we went from a rough sketch on our Coast Salish eagle design, and then in the next one I walked you through the process of how I would clean up that rough sketch with some nice clean lines using the pen tool in Photoshop, and that would also work with Illustrator as well using the pen tool. So what we have here is our line work for our Coast Salish eagles, and then we're just gonna have some fun. We're gonna add some color, maybe some gradients to this design, and I'll kind of show you guys some of the techniques that I use for that. So I grouped together the shapes, the trigons, the crescents of our eagle in one, and the body as well. So let's try adding some color. You go back to the pen tool to select the body, and let's just make that a black with no outline. And then I'll go to our shapes and make that a red. So there's some basic coloring for one side of the bird. That looks pretty cool, but let's see what some gradients will look like. So there's a few different ways to use gradients. I could go back to the pen tool, and if you click right there, you can play around with the gradient designs. And you could also use the gradient tool right here, or you can click on your layer of the body, go to blending options, and there's a gradient overlay as well. There's already kind of a blue pre-selected, so that looks all right, but you just rasterize that layer, go back to blending options, and when I go to gradient overlay, let's try and make our own. So I click on the color point, maybe make that kind of a light bright red on one point, and then it's going to go to, let's try a darker red. So that looks pretty clean. I'm liking that. Now what we could also do, it's already selected for linear, but if you select it, you can change it to radial. So the lighter red will be in the middle and the darker red will be on the outside of it, which that looks pretty cool. So I like the way the body looks on there. And then I'm going to go to blending options, and we'll change the color of the shapes. Maybe let's try, see what a blue will kind of look like. That doesn't look too bad. Maybe darker. Maybe a red or a black. But you kind of get the idea. You can spend a lot of time playing around with the colors, and you can add as many colors in the gradient as you want by clicking on the points there. And what you could also do to play around with the editing, there's a whole bunch of options here. You can click on inner shadow, and there would put a little inner drop shadow effect on our trigons and our crescents to make it kind of look cut out, kind of a cutout effect. So if I clicked on OK on that, all I would have to do next is select both of our layers, holding down the shift button, then Control J, and then Control T, and then just flip it over. And there's our second copy of the bird. And I could change the color of the circle underneath, maybe black. You just play around the colors all day as much as you want. I love doing that. I can spend a lot of time on a design just seeing how things look. So that doesn't look too bad. I think what I want to do next is, let's try something else. Let's take away that one bird. And what I want to do next is I took some textures and placed them on a different page here. I have a wooden texture and I have a abalone shell texture here. So let's have some fun with that. So I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to press Control A, Control C to copy it. And then let's place it on our eagle page here. Control V. Then Control T. Just going to bring it over our bird. Kind of copy it to what the size would be of our bird. Hit Enter. And then it's sitting right on top of our eagle. So what I'm going to do on this layer is I'm going to right click on the mouse, create clipping mask, and it takes that layer, the texture layer of the wood, into the shape of our eagle. So that's looking pretty slick. And let's see what the abalone texture will look like on the eyes and the mouth and the crescent shapes. So I'm going to take that layer and Control A, Control C to copy it, and then Control V. Oh, it's copying the wood. Let's do that again. So Control A, Control A, Control C, Control V, and there's our shell texture. Let's kind of match that to the size. Hit Enter, and then right click on it, create clipping mask, and that looks pretty fresh. Different textures you can use if you wanted to. You can create your own and just go kind of crazy with it. The possibilities are so endless when it comes to doing the graphic art in programs like Photoshop. You go back to the blending options, maybe add that inner shadow. That looks pretty good. And then maybe add some shading to the body. Blending options on that. Maybe try satin, which will give it some shading effect. I'll invert that so it's the outline. And that looks pretty cool. Just playing around in a few minutes, you can have so much fun with this. I like how that looks. Control J, Control T. And there you go. That looks pretty dope. I'm pretty happy with that. And if you want to add it to the circle and behind, Control V, because it's probably saved on there still. And carry it over to the shape of the circle. Hit Enter, and then make a clipping mask for that circle layer. So that looks pretty fresh. And then maybe make a duplicate of the ring, the outer circle. Control T. And there you have a nice border. Go to our original white background. Solid color for fill. And yeah, the possibilities are endless when it comes to graphic art. I think that's why I love playing with graphic art so much, just because you can have so much fun with it and just really get creative in the designs. So there you go. There's our finished product, and I'm happy with how that turned out. I've been really happy to share this with you guys, some of what I know, and hopefully you enjoyed watching it. Looking forward to possibly doing some more tutorials for fun and just sharing with you guys. So once again, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed that, and enjoy the rest of your day. Much love. Peace out. Peace.